That was President Joe Biden's farewell address to the nation, ending a half-century career in public service. At times, a muted message, but clear in tone, a dark warning about an America ruled by billionaires, where truth, Biden said, is smothered, and participating in democracy, in his words, becomes disillusioning and exhausting. Want to bring in two smart political minds from Colorado to talk about what we just heard and what it means for our state. Conservative political strategist Sage Naumann, good to have you. Democratic strategist Alvina Vasquez, thank you for being here as well. I was struck by how different the topics of conversation in that farewell address were from the topics of conversation in the presidential race that we just had between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Clearly, he wants to send this message about what he thinks the second Trump term is going to look like. Trump, billionaire buddies, tech bros running America to their benefit. Sage, let me ask you, do Americans care? Do they care who's in charge, or do they care about the result?
I think they do. And here's my problem with his message. When he talks about those in power, when he talks about disinformation, American people who are watching that tonight see a president who just pardoned his son for breaking the law, something that a lot of other people go to prison for. And he says we all have to play by the same rules. It comes across as disingenuous. And I think people do care, but they want somebody who is going to genuinely tell them what's going on. And the American people want to feel like they can trust that person. Joe Biden has not been that person over the last 4 years. And as passionate as he was tonight, and I believe that he loves America, and I believe that he's worried about the future of America, he doesn't come across as genuine. He is not the messenger for this message.
Alvina, let me ask you, it seemed like he really was speaking to what you hear from a lot of Democrats these days, which is just this deep worry, if not outright fearfulness, that a second Trump term is not just another 4 years of Republican leadership, but marks a real turn in America. And it portends something very dark for the future, where people lose some right to self-determination. Is that message breaking through, and what are Democrats prepared to do about it other than bemoan the situation as he did?
Well, I think, first of all, we're getting a Trump presidency without guardrails. We have a Supreme Court that is obviously in his favor. But we also know the chaotic Trump presidency that was the first 4 years. And so we're all anticipating that could happen again, and probably nothing will get done again. What Trump is benefiting from is a Biden economy that Biden's built, that he will take credit for, a recovery from the COVID economy. And so the next 4 years, who knows, right? There's no consistency. There's no trust when you talk about trust, there's no trust that another Trump is going to bring economic well-being for Americans, which is really what they care about.
I know we always want to talk about the future, but this was a man's farewell address, right, as he leaves office. So I ask you, what do you think Biden's legacy is in Colorado? You will acknowledge that the man loves America and wants the best for America. There are a lot of folks on the American right who believe that he's a traitor, that he should be put on some tribunal. I mean, just truly nutty stuff. How will he be remembered?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, I think history will tell us, give us more clarity on that. But here's what I think. This man spent 50 years in public office. His career started in tragedy. He suffered a lot of tragedies along the way, losing his wife, his daughter, and then eventually his son as well. It's unfortunate that 50 years is going to be boiled down to 4 years of, in my opinion, mental decline, an economy that's just kind of, not quite getting to where people want it to be. That being said, I think that his entire legacy is going to be shaped by Donald Trump. It's being bookended by 2 terms of Donald Trump. If Donald Trump's second term, if the American people think that's successful, guess what? Joe Biden is relegated to a footnote. If people look and they say, look, it's the same old, it's the chaos we experienced in the first Trump term, then people may be looking upon Joe Biden a little bit better 10 years from now. But again, we'll have to see what happens in the second Trump term.
Alvina, the recent passing of Jimmy Carter makes me think that Joe Biden, likewise, has dedicated his life to public service. He doesn't have the runway that Jimmy Carter had, likely, in terms of years, right? I mean, Jimmy Carter had half of a lifetime to be of service to a country and turned around the country's impression of him. I mean, Joe Biden is going to be judged by what he did over the last 4 years. He leaves office more unpopular than when his predecessor left, having just tried to overthrow an American election and stay in power. That's a pretty damning indictment in terms of job performance.
I believe it is 50 years. I mean, think about where this country was 50 years ago. Women couldn't even get a credit card, right? So we're looking at a completely different country that it was back then. So I think his legacy is capstoned in this past 4 years, but the first 50 years cannot be ignored. A lot has changed since then, from technology to how we receive information to, like I said, women being able to even manage their own finances.
And lastly, just briefly from each of you, do you think that there was a turning point in the Biden administration that ended with where we are now? Him not running again, Kamala Harris losing, Donald Trump coming back to the presidency. Was it the disastrous withdrawal in Afghanistan? Was it solely about the economy? Was it his decision not to run again? Alvina first, then Sage, please.
I would think it comes down to economic issues. I think one of the things that politicians do is they talk about these big, complex values messaging, but really it only matters what's happening in the pocketbook. And over time, people don't realize how long a recovery actually takes.
Sage.
I think a lot of people voted for Joe Biden in 2020 because they wanted a president that would unify, that would put the fires out, that would turn down the temperature. I don't think Joe Biden has been that president. And obviously we can't fix things like the economy and cognitive decline through a conversation. But if I had to tell him one thing, it'd be even before he was sworn into office, which is recognize that your role in history is to bring that temperature down, to get us on a track where we can be unified again as a nation. Unfortunately, he's leaving office with us more divided than ever before.
The 4-year caretaker role that he alluded to when he was running. Sage Naumann, Alvina Vasquez, thank you both for your time today.